Billy Collins has been a writer in residence at Sarah Lawrence College and is Distinguished Professor of English at Lehman College, City University of New York, where he has taught for 30 years. He was recently selected as the inaugural recipient of the Poetry Foundation's Mark Twain Award for Humor in Poetry. He served as New York State Poet Laureate from 2004 to 2006 and was appointed, as you all know, Poet Laureate of the United States from 2001 through 2003. At this point, I will ask Steve Cowett, Poet Laureate of San Diego, to introduce Billy Collins.
If you read Bob Pincus's charming article today in the UT, it's an article about how Dennis managed to get Billy Collins here. And Billy Collins basically said, well, for 2 years he worked on it, and he sent me 7,000 emails. And it's absolutely true, I'm sure, maybe a little hyperbole there. But I want to just say that most of you know that Dennis is a phenomenal figure in the literary culture of San Diego, and it's wonderful that he did manage to get Billy Collins here. The nice thing about Collins, one of the things about it is that Billy Collins' poetry is absolutely readable in the best sense of just wonderfully personable and communicative and marvelous. Don't say this to Dennis, I know he doesn't want me to talk about it, but Dennis is trying to get Dostoevsky here in the next year or so. He's working on it. He's having even more trouble than getting Billy Collins. There's nothing I need to say. Billy Collins is a marvelous poet, and we're so happy to have him here in La Jolla and San Diego. Please warmly welcome him.
Thank you. This is amazing. I don't get run over out there. This is amazing. Amazing. Gives new meaning to the phrase spillover crowd. And it's true. Dennis, the more planning has gone into this than for D-Day. But thanks to Dennis, I'm here, and I just met the man, and we're going to spend some time together over the next couple of days, but I know something about him from poking around in the little room where I was nothing salacious, but there I pulled down, I just wanted to see if the books were priced, so I pulled down an old book, and it was Introduction to Latin. And but inside was his name, UCLA 7273, and then I pulled down the book next to it, which was Introduction to Greek, and these were his Greek and his Latin texts. And the underlining you would not believe. I mean, it was more marginalia than text. So I know he had a classical and fervid education. So that's a great thing. So let me read. I'm eager to read a few poems from this new book called Ballistics, and I'll start. I'm going to start with the first poem. I'm not going to read the whole book to you, like you put on your pajamas, and I'll read you a book. But this is all you need to know about this is the Charles River is the river that flows through Boston, right? And it's called Brightly Colored Boat. The title is Brightly Colored Boats Upturned on the Banks of the Charles. What is there to say about them that has not been said in the title? Well, see, many poets would have stopped at that. And that was an immediate impasse that I had to overcome. Right. Brightly colored boats upturned on the banks of the Charles. What is there to say about them that has not been said in the title? I saw them near dawn from a glassy room on the other side of that river, which flowed from some hidden spring to the sea, but that is getting us away from the brightly colored boats upturned on the banks of the Charles, the sleek racing sculls of a college crew team. They were beautiful in the clear early light. Red, yellow, blue, and green is all I wanted to say about them. Although for the rest of the day, I pictured a lighter version of myself calling time through a little megaphone, first to the months of the year, and then to the 12 apostles, all grimacing as they leaned and pulled on the long wooden oars. How do you get 12 apostles into one of those boats? And this is also a poem that will disestablish trust. It's called Fishing on the Susquehanna in July. I have never been fishing on the Susquehanna, or in any river for that matter, to be perfectly honest. Not in July or any month have I had the pleasure, if it is a pleasure, of fishing on the Susquehanna. I am more likely to be found in a quiet room like this one, a painting of a woman on the wall, a bowl of tangerines on the table, trying to manufacture the sensation of fishing on the Susquehanna. There is little doubt that others have been fishing on the Susquehanna, rowing upstream in a wooden boat, sliding the oars under the water, then raising them to drip in the light. But the nearest I have ever come to fishing on the Susquehanna was one afternoon in a museum in Philadelphia, when I balanced a little egg of time in front of a painting in which that river curled around a bend under a blue, cloud-ruffled sky, dense trees along the banks, and a fellow with a red bandana sitting in a small green, flat-bottomed boat holding the thin whip of a pole. That is something I am unlikely ever to do, I remember saying to myself and the person next to me. Then I blinked and moved on to other American scenes of haystacks, water whitening over rocks, even one of a brown hare who seemed so wired with alertness, I imagined him springing right out of the frame. Thank you. A lot of these poems, you go in, not to give a lecture on them, but you go in with a little something, like the Susquehanna. I used to drive to these colleges, and I'd drive along the Susquehanna, I'd see people fishing, and I thought it might be interesting just to have a poem that then deconstructs its own title. But the poems are all kind of groping toward some ending. I mean, the main desire is to find a spot where the poem can land and stop, so that I don't want to say anything more and you don't want to hear anything more. And the hare, in that case, this picture of a hare, I recognize that immediately. That's the ending, and that is, whatever the poem is about. For me, it's about finding the hare, finding this spot.